Hey guys, it's Darwin here with my weekly Q&A to answer more of your questions. If you want to ask a question for next week's Q&A, you can either leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then next week I'll answer as many as I possibly can. So, happy Halloween. I hope you guys are having a great and spooky time. Let's go ahead and get into this week's first question. What long trails are good to hike during winter in the US? So I think that pretty much any of the desert trails would be great to hike during the winter. So the southern sections of the Arizona Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, the Continental Divide Trail. Now obviously once you started getting up north, after the first 700 or 1,000 miles, you're probably gonna run into some snow and some hardcore winter conditions. But if you're just going out for a really big section, maybe a big section hike, those would be great. Now, if you're thinking about doing a full-on through hike, I think the Florida Trail would be perfect for that. There are a lot of hikers that go out and hike that trail in the winter because, well, you can do it. There's no snow, you don't have to worry about super high elevation, no ice storms, so the Florida Trail would be perfect if you're planning on doing a full-on through hike. But if not, like I said, I would check out the desert sections of the Arizona Trail, the Continental Divide, and the Pacific Crest because those would be really great to do in the winter. Why isn't Snuggles doing the PCT Thru hike with you like she did on the AT? So, I've actually been getting that question a lot lately, and it's not for really any reason. She just doesn't want to hike the PCT. Now, whenever both of us went out to hike the AT, we both had a one and done mentality. We thought we were just gonna hike that trail and never do another one. I have a super addicted personality, so I'm gonna hike the PCT and continue to do through hikes. Snuggles really doesn't have any interest in doing a full-on through hike again. However, she will be coming out and meeting up with me in certain sections to hike certain sections. She's more of a weekend backpacker and a section hiker. She still likes doing long hikes, just not going out for 4 to 6 months is not really her bag anymore. The AT is something that she wanted to do, wanted to accomplish, and doesn't really have a desire to do another one. So I'll be hiking it solo.
Hey Darwin, it's Christine. I had a question about water filtration. Can you taste the difference in water that's filtered from a source that looks seemingly clean versus one that's not looking that great? Just wanted to know how good is the filtration and if you can taste it. And have you ever gotten sick from filtered or not filtered water, and what do you do for that?
Yeah, I definitely think that you can taste a difference in good water or bad water. Not necessarily a disease or like a virus or something, but you can definitely taste fresh flowing water from stagnant water. So if I was out on the AT getting water out of like a spring or a stream, it definitely had a nice fresh taste to it, where out on the Arizona Trail or the Continental Divide Trail, where I was having to get water from cattle tanks and little ponds, it definitely has a nastier, dirtier, stagnant taste to it. So for those water sources, I'm usually a little bit more on the fence and make sure that I really hardcore filter it, where out on the AT or places on the Pacific Crest Trail, you know, you have this nice, beautiful, flowing, rushing water. You don't have to worry about it as much. Now, there are a lot of hikers that don't filter their water and just drink straight out of those sources, but me personally, I always take the time to filter my water because you never know. Even the nicest flowing, beautiful stream could have a dead animal like a mile up the stream, and you're drinking its viruses and all that stuff. So I always make sure that I filter my water. Now, as far as getting sick, no. I've never been sick from a water source, knock on wood, wherever it's at. I'm in the desert. But I do know a lot of hikers that have had giardia and other waterborne illnesses. So definitely filter your water. What are some hiking channels that you subscribe to, and what do you like about their channel? Tom, I have subscribed to a ton of hiking channels, and it's other people's hiking channels that actually inspired me to start this one 2 years ago. So some of the people that inspired me and people that I still watch all the time would be Syntax77. He's been making videos for years, and way before I ever even thought about hiking the AT, I was watching that dude's videos. I like how he edits his videos. He puts them together really good, and he's a music producer, which I also used to be. So he does all of his music in his videos. He just has really cool editing. I highly suggest checking his videos out. And then another one that really influenced me and one that I followed on the AT was Redbeard. Redbeard Hikes puts out some great videos, and he was one of the guys who really inspired me to start a channel and do kind of a similar thing where I did gear reviews, I did trip reports, and just overall gave general hiking advice. So definitely check those two dudes out. Some other channels that I've really gotten into over the past year would be Homemade Wanderlust, Dixie, that just got done hiking the PCT, did amazing videos out there. I was really impressed with that. She has some really solid advice on hiking too. You have John Z, which does some of the best work on YouTube as far as I'm concerned. Plus he has a really cool podcast. You have Nemours World, which he actually hiked the same year out on the AT that I did, and then hiked the PCT last year. He is super entertaining, definitely worth checking out. And then actually a new channel that I've really gotten into, and it's a new channel in general, which is Lense. If any of you guys know who Lense is, he is a triple crowner. He's like a superstar of the hiking world. He recently started a YouTube channel, and he's been trying to put out as many videos as he possibly can. And I've really been enjoying him because I love that dude's sense of humor. So if you want to check out any of those channels, I'll put a link in the description box below to all the channels so you can go give them some love from Darwin.
Hey Darwin, I wanted to start out saying thank you very much for your awesome channel. I've watched, I think, every video you've put out, so every week I'm just waiting for the next one. So I had one general question, which was that I'm working on my own YouTube channel as well, and I'd been using the YouTube editor to do basic stitching and cutting off sections and just put it together. But now YouTube has gotten rid of that, where I know they have a little bit of basic functionality, but I can't stitch and do some other stuff. So I was wondering, what program do you use to stitch together your videos? And if you could just describe your processing process. What do you do to go from your video content to uploading it? So thank you very much.
Yeah, so I answered this question in last week's Q&A, but I guess I'll touch on it one more time. Believe it or not, I have Final Cut. I have had Premiere Pro from Adobe, but 90 to 95% of the time, I do all of my video editing in iMovie. And pretty much how I do it is I shoot my video, I take my card, I load it onto my computer, I take all my footage and dump it onto my hard drive so it's good and backed up. And then when I'm ready, I just drag and drop it into iMovie, I edit all my stuff up, dump it back on the hard drive, and then upload it to YouTube. Pretty simple process, and I think that's how most people do it. And there's a ton of great software out there that you can use to edit your videos. I just really find iMovie super convenient, super easy to use, and at the last minute when I gotta edit a video really quick, it's a great one to go to. Biggest advice on starting a YouTube channel is put out everything that you can. There's a ton of times that I shoot videos and I can't stand them. I can't stand how the audio was, I don't like the lighting, I just overall don't like the concept of the video, but I put it out anyways. Because making videos is a complete process. It's all about making something, putting it out to the world, getting your positive feedback, getting your negative feedback, and learning and improving as you go. So my biggest advice is put out as much media as you possibly can. Eventually somebody will grab on and you'll learn to perfect it. How do you properly fit/tighten/adjust your pack? For example, do you tighten certain areas first to properly disperse the weight? Yeah, so I have a method that I've been using for years. Every time I put on a pack, no matter what pack it is, first I put on my hip belt, I tighten it down in a spot that I like, I kind of bend over, I put my sternum strap on, then I'll pull down on my shoulder straps, and once I get all that nice and adjusted, I'll grab my load lifters and bring the pack up onto my back. And I do it every single time, no matter what pack it is and no matter what weight it is. Because your weight in your pack is constantly changing and shifting, so you need to be readjusting it every time you put it on your back. Now there's tons of different ways to put a pack on. That's just the way that I've used for years, and it seemed to work pretty good so far. Maybe I ought to do a video on that in the future. I have 5 days to do a section of the Arizona Trail. Can you recommend a starting point for me? Yeah, I would actually suggest the section that I just got off last month, which would be from Flagstaff, Arizona to Pine, Arizona. You're looking at about 120 to 130 miles between those two towns, and that terrain is phenomenal. You get a taste of all that the Arizona Trail has to offer. So you get some pine tree forest, you get some higher elevation, you get a little bit of desert hiking, and both hiking towns, Flagstaff and Pine, are great to start and to stop in. Especially in Pine, there's a really good brewery there that has amazing food and killer beer. Starting out on that section, it's pretty nice, smooth terrain that you can just kind of cruise through to get your hiking legs. And then as you get about halfway through it, you start getting some higher elevations and a little bit of up and down roller coaster type trail. So you get kind of the best of all worlds when it comes to hiking. Do you ever wash your clothes out on the trail? If you wash them, how do you do it? No, I never wash my clothes. Like, I've never used soap and really washed them. Now, there are some times if I'm hiking a trail and it's super muggy or I'm super sweaty and I'm kind of collecting those sweat crystals that you kind of get on your clothes during the day, I will take my shirt off when I get to camp and I'll put it in a stream, obviously away from where people are filtering water, and I'll wring it out. So that way I can get kind of all those nasty crusties off, and the next day I'm not worrying about it and it's not chafing me. But as far as washing clothes, no, I've never done that. I've seen some people do that on the trail. I just know that the next day I'm gonna be just as stinky and just as nasty, so I don't worry about it and I just do it in town. What is the one thing in your previous life you miss the most? That is a good question. There's not a whole lot of things that I miss in my previous life aside from, your general comforts that you don't get whenever you live in a 5x8 cargo trailer. But I think that the one thing that I actually do miss is having an instrument, having a bunch of instruments, a bunch of guitars at my disposal. So I've been a musician my entire life, and I owned a recording studio back in Indiana. So I definitely miss getting up in the morning, being able to walk down into my studio, grab my guitar, turn on my amp, and just create music. Now the funny thing is, whenever Snuggles and I left, I actually bought a small travel guitar because I'm like, oh, well, I'll just keep playing while we're on the road. I never played the damn thing because I was too busy hiking and thinking about testing gear and stuff like that. So I think that one passion definitely replaces another passion, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I do miss having that convenience of just being able to go down into my studio, grabbing an instrument, and just creating music. All right, guys, last question of the week.
Hey, Darwin, kind of a newbie question here, but you talk a lot about going into town and coming out of town on the AT. Does the trail go through the towns? Do you have to get rides? Do you hitchhike? I mean, everyone kind of looks over that detail, and I was just curious, like, how that worked.
So yeah, the trail does go through certain towns. I would say there's about 5 total on the entire Appalachian Trail where the trail goes right down the sidewalk. Hot Springs, North Carolina, Damascus, Virginia. There's a handful of them. But even if the trail doesn't go through the town, it comes pretty close to a town. Usually between 2 and like 5 miles. So most times if you're wanting to get into a town to resupply, stay at a hostel, wash your clothes, you'll just hitch. Now I know there's a lot of people right now that are like, oh, hitching, that's bad. Well, out on the AT, because the trail community's so used to it and those towns have been used to hikers coming in and out for so many years, doing something like hitching is not really macabre, it's not weird, it's just kind of part of the trail. And if you're not down with hitching, there's also shuttle services. So a lot of times you'll come out of a trail, you'll come to a trailhead, there'll be like a little, I don't know, like a marquee or something, and there'll be business cards on there where you can call them and you can get a shuttle, maybe pay $5 to $10 to take you down into town, drive you around to resupply, and then come drop you back off the trail. But me personally, I would come out to a road, throw my thumb out, dance around a little bit, and I would always get a ride. People are super great out there and the community is awesome. All right, guys, so if you want to leave a question for next week's Q&A, you can either leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then next week I'll answer as many as I possibly can. I hope you guys are having a super awesome, spooky Halloween. Snuggles and I have definitely been enjoying it. We're big Halloween geeks. We actually went to a Halloween party this past weekend and had a killer time. Tonight we'll probably binge on pizza and watching Stranger Things to get in the Halloween mood. So I wanted to let you guys know that I recently partnered with a company called Bonfire. And what Bonfire does is they make limited edition t-shirts and different apparel. So I partnered with them in making a limited edition Darwin on the Trail t-shirt. So how it works is the design will only be available for 15 days, so it is limited edition. After the end of the 15 days, you won't be able to get it anymore, and we'll probably design a new limited edition shirt. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, I'll put a link in the description box below. You can go check those out. grab one for yourself. They're super cool, and proceeds from the shirt go to help me grow this channel, help me make these videos, and do things like hike the PCT next year. If you haven't had a chance yet, go over and check me out on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of new photos lately of some of the things that Snuggles and I have going on throughout the week, plus some pictures from some past hikes. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always guys, thanks for watching.